Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. club. It's lunchtime, it's Thursday, the sun's out, the cloud has almost blown away, and it's an awesome Sydney autumn day. I reckon that autumn has got to be one of the best times of the year to visit Sydney, because it's the weather is consistent. It's blue skied, it's not too hot, not too cold, and it's just a magical time of year. Admittedly, this year we had some record rains to kick off the month, or to kick off the season, but it's normally not that inclement. So hopefully for the rest of autumn we're going to have some consistency and some beautiful weather. Anyway, let's go on a bit of a walk and talk. What I'm going to do today is talk to you about another book summary. And the book summary that I've chosen to go through this morning, or this lunchtime should I say, is entitled Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. And it's an interesting topic, and I think it's a topic that resonates with many of us. Because I guess we get through life and we get disappointed, I guess, is one way of putting it, by the things that people tell us, the way they behave and the way they express themselves. And I guess over the past 4 or 5 years, with the increase in social media, with Facebook, Instagram, and these types of platforms, people are a little bit off the leash when it comes to being rude and being very, very opinionated and very, very aggressive. And we've got to maybe take a look at what impact this is having on friends and family and each and every one of us, and to try and identify ways of being less violent, or non-violent should I say, in our communication styles. But aggression is the name of the game, and I can't post anything these days without some smartass coming and putting a twist on it and making some smartass comment. It's just the way of the world now. So instead of either liking it, supplementing it with a comment, or complimenting it with a comment, all I get sometimes is just rude comments. People just taking the piss out of me, out of what I've said, out of what I've posted, and it gets to the point where I no longer even bother to post on some groups, because I know that regardless of what I put, there are going to be some dickheads who are going to say something which is going to irritate me no end. But what the author here is saying is that when people analyse what you say, and the analysis of others is actually an expression of our own needs and values. So people are basically voicing their opinion, but it's more about voicing what's missing in their lives and the challenges that they face. So we shouldn't take it too personally, I guess, is one point of saying it. And other people seem to think that words don't offend us, and they can't really harm us. You know, when you're young, you say, I remember the little saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never harm me or never harm us. But it's only when you grow up, only when you've gotten through childhood, that you realise that words are in fact more harmful, much more harmful than sticks and stones, and create lasting negative impacts on people, and vice versa. Good words or good sentiments sometimes have lasting positive impacts on people around us. But it's usually the latter. We tend to remember the shit that people tell us, the shitograms that come our way, rather than the good things. and it's just the way of who we are and how we are. And I also remember reading by an author who says that for every negative comment that you receive in your life, you need at least 6 positive comments to neutralise a negative comment that somebody has made. So all you need is just one negative comment on a Facebook post to piss you off, and you know, it doesn't matter how many positive posts or positive comments you get, it's that negative comment that will continue to eat away at you and cause you pain, suffering and discomfort. So what's the author talking about here? He says that words can't offend us, but they can harm us, and they can't harm us. But however, what we're finding is that in a default manner of speaking, others have become very violent in the words that they use and the communication style that they've adopted over the past, as I say, the past decade or so. And what the author then talks about is how do we split it up? How do we deal with it? How do we manage it? And the author here says that in our own communication style, what we need to do is to spend some time analysing what we say and how we say it, our tone, and to separate our observations from our judgments, to keep them separate, because the judgments are the ones that hurt. The observations are not as painful, or not as painful, I guess is probably the best way of describing it. Because when we make a judgment call, when other people think or feel that we're judging them, that's when they tend to feel defensive, and our brains leap to label and our mouths judge. So we need to be careful, because once we feel as if we're being judged, that's when our primitive brain gets triggered, and we go into fight or flight or freeze response. And when a person feels judged, and I can attest to this because it happens to me all the time, whenever I feel that somebody's judging me, I tend to shut down and get defensive, and I'll pull a post very, very quickly, and I'll defriend somebody who I find is attacking me, and it's just the way that I deal with these things. I don't sit and try and rationalise it or figure it out. All I do is just cut. I cut, and then don't have to deal with it, and just move on. Because the important thing to understand is the difference between judgments and observations. Observations are concrete, they're neutral, and they don't link our behaviour to a judgment. And that's why people are comfortable if you make an observation, if you're saying you're making an observation, but without linking it to some sort of judgment, without saying A plus B equals C. You know, you can say A, you can say B, and A plus B, but as long as you don't link it to some sort of judgment, then people won't get defensive and feel offended or get hurt. So the next formal point to come out of this book is that the author says that we need to connect our actions and requests to people's specific needs. And by doing that, you can diffuse tensions and point towards possible resolutions. Because we're going back to this point that we said before, that when we analyse other people, what we're actually doing is expressing our own needs and values. And so what we're saying is that this is what we think, this is what we believe. So other people need to understand that, and we need to understand it as well. So when somebody else is expressing something or analysing something, we need to understand is that they are doing it. They're doing a compare and contrast to their own values and needs, and not necessarily for us to get overly sensitive or worried about it, because at the end of the day, everybody's entitled to an opinion, and if you don't take ownership of it, if you just treat it as water off a duck's back, then you'll get through life a lot better without having to worry about the crap that goes on around us. Because what the author says here, and it's very, very important to understand as well, and I agree with this wholeheartedly, that most people in our lives don't walk around or move around trying to cause problems. So we need to try and understand what their needs are, to be empathetic and respectful, and to know that when people say things, they may not realise that they're saying it. And regardless of what they say, they may not be saying it in a way to offend you or to embarrass you or to cause problems in your life. It's just something which may be unfiltered, something that they're toying about and it's troubling them about their lives, and they're just trying to understand it and to make sense of it while talking in the third person or presenting it as if it's something outside of their own issues and challenges. So it's something to understand, that people don't go out of their ways. Most people don't go out of their ways to make you feel bad. You know, if it comes across like that, then it's probably not intended. You may want to ask the question, you know, did you intend to say that in order to make me feel bad? Or did you say it because of some other reason and I must have misinterpreted what you said and taken it on board when I shouldn't have taken it on board, because the insult or the offence was not intended. The other thing that the author talks about here is that not only do we need to be less offensive and less violent and more careful with how we communicate with other people around us, what's probably even more important is that we need to be non-violent when we're communicating with ourselves. And we need to try and alleviate the feelings of regret and anxiety. So we need to be careful that we don't insult, intimidate, and create discomfort to our past and current selves. And you've got to understand also, and this is something that I need to learn, because I love trying to be positive and trying to be the wind beneath other people's wings, and to provide genuine compliments and comments when I see something. So if I see something that I like, I'll just call it out. But what the author here says, and something that I'm going to think about and mull over, is that even compliments, even when you compliment somebody, it can be seen as being a positive judgment, and it means that you are judging the other person. So even a positive compliment can be deemed a positive judgment, and by being a judgment may make other people feel uncomfortable that you are judging them. How funny is that? So even trying to be nice to people can be misconstrued, because if you say to somebody, "Oh, you look beautiful tonight," somebody who's sensitive may say, "Well, aren't I beautiful all the time? You know, are you suggesting that I'm haggard during the week, or I'm haggard all the other times, and yet tonight, because I've worn a different outfit, or I've put on some makeup and done my hair, that I'm considered to be beautiful?" You know what I mean. You know, before you know it, regardless of what you say and who you say it to, you end up being in hot water. And I've been in hot water many times in my life. And sometimes you get to the point where you say, stuff it. I'm not going to comment anymore, or try and be nice, or try and be authentic, or try and be the real me, because people take that rawness, that authenticity, that vulnerability that we put forward, and they can flip it and make us feel stupid, make us feel as if we're taking the piss. So it's pretty interesting and pretty awkward. But this author, I celebrate, and I give them a big pat on the back that they bring it up and they make it a topic of conversation. So people, even if you give them a positive compliment, feel as if you're critiquing them. And there are some people who are shy. There are some people who are uncomfortable with being in the limelight. So we need to be aware of that. But it's not going to stop me. If I see something nice that I like, up until my last breath, up until I give up my spirit, I'm going to tell people that I like it and to celebrate it. And not to worry if it's received positively or negatively. If it's something that I like and I think it's worth celebrating and congratulating, I will do it regardless. So that's my take on this particular point. And what the author is saying here is that the best way of giving a compliment, and a positive compliment, is to say the compliment and then to add to it the reason why you're complimenting them is because it meets one of your needs. So to say something and to say how it helps you see yourself, or how it helps you understand the world around you. So to use it, to use the compliment to make them feel good, but to also give them some additional information as to why it's important to you, or why you think they look beautiful, or why you're patting them on the back. Because it's interesting and important for them to know that what they're doing helps you appreciate and understand one of the things that are important to you, so one of your needs. So thank you once again for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. We've just gone through the book, Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. Let's finish up with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable. And let's be mindful in terms of how we communicate with others, how we communicate with ourselves, to maintain a level of authenticity and genuineness, but by the same token to also let people know that what you like about them meets one of your needs. So to give them a little bit more information rather than just to let them feel that they're being critiqued or judged. And to know that it's important to separate observations from judgments, because when people feel that they're being judged, they tend to bring down the shutters and they tend to get defensive. So the best thing to do is to try and manage that as best you can by creating observations and limiting your judgments, or at least shaping your observations or your judgments so that they don't come across as being offensive or too harsh a critique. So thank you once again. I look forward to coming to you later on today from another location with another message. This is my fourth vlog for today. and I'm well on my path to achieving my 1,000 milestone vlogs. I've set it as a goal, and I'm moving at a rapid rate to hitting those 1,000 vlogs by my 61st birthday, and I can't wait. I can't wait to hit my 1,000 vlogs, because I really feel that once I hit my 1,000, that's when I will start to learn better technique, and I will be able to then tighten up my vlog timings. My daughter tells me that my vlogs are far too long, and I appreciate that. I'm going to take it on board. But what I want to do is first get out 1,000 the way that I wanted to do them, and then to fine tune them and to make them sexier and better from that point on. So yasas, take care, filaka, and we'll talk again. Bye for now.